Alright, here we go. Okay, so I kinda lied. This series isn't gonna be weekly or bi-weekly. It's gonna be whenever the hell I feel like doing it. And I meant to do a lot more in October, but I got sidetracked with work and other projects, and I've been sick lately, which is why my voice might sound a little different and I might be a little congested, so I'm sorry if I cough or anything. But, of course, I'm not really concerned since I don't know how many people are actually watching this. Hello? Anyone out there? Eh, screw it. Anyway, as I said, it's October. And that means my second favorite holiday is just around the corner, Halloween. So I figured, what better time to talk about the Halloween series? Yeah, I haven't got the original Halloween. It eluded me twice. One of the $5 DVDs and the $10 Blu-ray. Went to get them, they're gone. Ugh. But dwell on that later. For now, I think everyone probably knows the basic story of Halloween. It's Michael Myers, who was an 8-year-old, went crazy and stabbed his older sister Judith and was locked up for, I don't know, 20 years. He changes. And then when he waited and waited and waited till the right night to come out, break out of the sanitarium, put on a pale William Shatner mask, and kill the fuck out of people. Most notably, Jamie Lee Curtis, who in the first one is Laurie Strode. I don't believe... Yeah, the first one we found out she was his sister. It's been a while since I've seen them. I should really probably watch these movies before I talk about them. But, where'd the fun be in that? Anyone can be professional. But the first one was directed by John Carpenter, is considered to be the start of the slasher genre. Especially the silent, tall, going around killing people one. But actually, it was very low on blood. There wasn't a lot of penetration of the flesh. There was just a lot of implied things and some bodies. So, it was reserved. Unlike the remake, which we'll get to eventually. But it is a fairly good story, really creepy, and I don't know what else I can say about it. It has been a while. But the continuity of the series is, well, it gets a little weird. So we go from the first Halloween, and at the end, Michael Myers is shot by Dr. Loomis, played brilliantly by Donald Pleasence. He falls off the balcony. They think he's dead. Dr. Loomis looks down. The body's gone. That's where we go into Halloween 2, which picks up exactly from that spot. Although it was made, I think, a year later. Maybe 2 years later. But it picks up exactly from the spot. So right away, we've got a pretty strong continuity. And it follows the events of the same Halloween night, where Michael is still trying to kill Laurie, following her to the hospital this time, where we get a little more of the slasher killers. I remember one kill where there's a nurse going to have sex with one of the orderlies, I think. Yeah. And they're in a hot tub. It's a therapeutic hot tub. And Michael turns on the heat all the way and burns her fucking face. And it's a really good effect. It creeped me out the first time I saw it, where you see the skin peel off. God, I wish I could think of more to say. The first two, I mean, they're good movies. I enjoy them, but they're, as far as, they're pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's when we get to the third one where things start to get a little weird. Because, as most people know, this movie, although it's called Halloween, has nothing to do with this or the first movie. In fact, in this world, this is just a movie. Now, the reason for this is, originally John Carpenter had wanted to create an anthology series of different events happening on different Halloween nights. He really didn't want to make a Halloween 2 with Michael Myers in it, but the studio insisted, especially, as I said, this was the start of the slasher genre, where, the repeat killers were just starting to appear. Freddy, Jason. I don't know if Pinhead, if Hellraiser came out yet, but, you got that. So they insisted on this, so he did it. And so when he got to the third one, he wanted to do his own thing. And it came with mixed reactions. Now, this one is about a guy who owns a trick or treat, no, Halloween. Say Halloween. Owns a Halloween store selling masks for kids called the Silver Shamrock Novelties. Uh, there's a cop investigating the strange murders, and he goes through this kind of convoluted story where he finds out the head of Silver Shamrock has part of Stonehenge somehow, and has chipped little pieces of that into the decals on the mask. And there's a special frequency that, when played, will essentially turn the kids' heads into a bunch of fucking bugs and snakes and shit. I mean, the first time I saw that, like, the kids sitting there and they're watching and they think it's him and his parents. They think it's just this promotional thing, and the thing starts flashing and it hits the tune and the kid freaks out and falls down, and he has this pumpkin head mask, not Pumpkinhead the monster, an actual pumpkin. Like, he falls down and it splits open and bugs and snakes and shit fall out. And that creeped me the fuck out the first time I saw it. So, as a movie itself, this is actually pretty good. It's got a good mystery, it's got some good characters, a nod to the original Halloween as it's playing there's an advertisement for it to be on TV in a bar. And I think they mentioned Haddonfield in this. I don't know. But it has nothing at all to do with the Halloween series. It is the redheaded stepchild of this movie franchise. So that's why a lot of people don't like it. And in fact, I didn't like it for a while until I went back and was, it's a good movie on its own. It should have just been called Season of the Witch. Although, now there's that Nicolas Cage movie, so I guess they couldn't do that. In fact, when I first saw that poster, I really thought it was just a remake of this movie. Wouldn't surprise me at this point. So, 3 didn't do well because it had nothing to do with Michael Myers. John Carpenter left at this point, and the studio said, alright, well, it's still bankable, it can still make us money, we're going to do another one. And we're going to bring back Michael Myers in Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. They weren't kidding, like, hey, he's back! See, he's back! Excuse me. Now, in this one, we have Jamie, who is Laurie's daughter, I believe. She's definitely Michael Myers' niece, and he has to go kill her. This is where we start getting into the backstory a little bit about the Cult of Thorn, which has something to do with Sam Hain, the Halloween spirit, and the curse is you have to kill all of your family members to rest in peace, or some shit like that. It gets really convoluted, which is probably why 4 and 5 aren't considered the best. For me, though, I love both of them, just because of Donald Pleasance. He comes back as Dr. Loomis, and he gets progressively crazier. The end of Halloween 2 had a fire in the hospital, and Donald Pleasance was caught up in it, and so was Michael Myers. So Donald Pleasance now has all these black gloves and a huge limp. Oh wait, no, he doesn't have the limp yet. He gets that in 5, because 4 and 5, I think, either were filmed at the same time or at least came out close, because 5 takes place directly a year after 4. We see at the end of 4, Michael Myers gets dropped down into an elevator shaft after getting shot the fuck up by every fucking redneck in town. Well, 5 starts out with his body being dragged, carried along by the current creek, and he finds his old hermit, and he lays comatose for a year. Then he wakes up, and of course kills the hermit, because he was there. Sorry, I'm really coughing a lot. 4 also ended... Actually, no, wait, sorry. That was where we last saw Michael. 4 really ended with Jamie, because she's dressed as a clown through the whole thing, like Michael was in the first, with a pair of scissors having stabbed her adopted sister, I believe. And one of the moments I like why Donald Pleasance is great in this, he sees her, realizes what's happening, that whatever evil was in Michael is now transferring to her, takes his gun out and is like, no, 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 and tries to shoot the little girl. I know that should be awful, but the way he plays it is so over the top, it's hilarious. Of course, that doesn't get picked up in number 5. This is where the continuity clusterfuck starts again. Number 5 sees Jamie as just mute and kind of semi-comatose because of the trauma she experienced from number 4. So through the whole thing, she doesn't say a word. Doesn't talk. And there's this other boy that's trying to be her friend. And she's in a mental institution, of course, but it's not like an awful one. It's one for kids who have developmental problems. And same old thing. Michael comes back, starts killing a bunch of people. Dr. Loomis comes back, tries to warn them. They don't believe him. I don't know why. Because you think every time crazy old Mr. Loomis comes around, here comes Michael Myers killing a bunch of people. In fact, that's another great line that gets brought up where Loomis is trying to warn the sheriff that Michael has returned. And the sheriff doesn't believe him, so at this point, Dr. Loomis has a cane because he got so fucked up in this movie. In the last movie, he starts walking around, talking to the sheriff, like, how many people did he kill last year? I counted maybe 15 dozen. I don't know. I might be overemphasizing that. But, oh god, I can't remember how this one ends. Again, I should probably watch these or research them more. It does have a scene where Michael takes off his mask. I remember when I rented this originally, like way back in the day, that was the big thing. It's like, you'll never guess the shocking thing when Michael removes his mask and he looks like a guy. You'd think he'd look more fucked up, actually. He looks pretty normal. In fact, Jamie even says when she starts speaking again, she asks her uncle to take off the mask, and she's like, you look just like us. And then he goes crazy and tries to kill her and gets killed. Which brings us to, I don't have this one yet, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, where again we go even deeper into the Cult of Thorn. And we learn more about the curse, more about the cult that has been following Michael since the inception, since he started this rampage, and in a show of really good continuity, brings back Tommy Doyle, who was the kid from the first one that Laurie was babysitting. And this time he's played by Paul Rudd in one of his first screen appearances. Of course, I didn't know who that was at the time, but when I saw it again, I'm like, oh, hey, it's Paul Rudd. I like him. This movie starts out with an older Jamie being stalked by Michael and she's like 15, and then she gives birth, which is, I don't want to think about that. Yeah, it happens, I guess. But she gives birth. Now Michael has another heir that he has to go kill. Tommy is looking after it. Recruits, of course, Dr. Loomis. And the last time Donald Pleasance would play this role, and they try to uncover the mystery of Michael Myers as well as stop him, while being haunted by the Man in Black, who appeared in Halloween 5 as just kind of a background character. It turns out the Man in Black was Dr. Wynn, another character from the very first movie, who tried, I think he tried to keep, no, he didn't keep Michael in. He was the one against Loomis, saying, Loomis, you're crazy, Michael's fine. The reason he said it, apparently, is he wanted Michael's power to never die, or, I don't know. I was never quite clear. They never really explained it well. Why the fuck they want that? But in the end, Michael just tears through all of them, except for Dr. Wynn. He kind of gets away, and no one really knows what happens. Tommy takes this, like, 5, 6 fucking needles full of tranquilizer and injects it into fucking Michael's neck. And they think he's passed out. They think he's dead. Tommy, the girl, his girlfriend, Beth, I think is her name, and they take the baby, and they start leaving with Dr. Loomis. Dr. Loomis says, no, wait. I have unfinished business. He goes back, and the very last shot of the movie is Michael's mask laying on the ground, and you hear Dr. Loomis scream in pain. What happened?